Back to follow segment tonight. ICE officials in Seattle are still holding 23-year-old Daniel Ramirez Medina, saying he's a suspected gang member and a possible threat to public security. Some on the left believe that Mr. Ramirez Medina is a victim of the Trump administration's overzealous immigration program. And there have been demonstrations.
Free Daniel now! Free Daniel now!
Free Daniel! Free Daniel! Free Daniel! Free Daniel!
I think she wants Daniel freed. The case is complicated by Ramirez Medina's father, who apparently defied deportation 8 times, is a convicted drug dealer who has served a year in prison. Yet, he was still in the USA last week when rounded up with his son. Joining us from Seattle, Fox News correspondent Dan Springer is covering the story for us. All right, let's walk through this now. We don't know where the father is, right? He was deported 8 times. Where is he?
We know where he's at now. He's at the Tacoma Detention Center, the Northwest Detention Center run by ICE, and he is awaiting prosecution on coming back into the country illegally after being deported, as you mentioned, 8 times, and he's also set for deportation as well.
Okay.
So he's at the same detention center as his son.
So they're both in the same place at Tacoma. The son is just basically rounded up because he is an illegal alien, but he is covered by DACA, by President Obama's mandate that if you were brought here by your father or mother and you were a kid, you could stay and work. Did he have a job?
He did not have a job. He was rounded up actually in an ICE action that was going after Antonio, his father. So they were going after Antonio. They had information that he was back in the country illegally after being deported, and they were going after the dad. When they went inside the house, they were allowed inside, and when they saw Daniel, they asked him if he was in the country legally. He said he was here illegally. They asked him if he had ever been arrested. He said yes, and then they asked him about any gang affiliation, and he said not no more. That he left California to get away from the Sureños who he used to hang with, and that he currently hangs out with paisas in Washington State. That was enough to establish in the minds of the ICE agents to take him to...
That's a Hispanic gang.
Yeah.
So they were living in the same house, father, son, right? ICE agents go in, arrest the father, he's in big trouble, son's covered by DACA. But if he's a gang, if he has a gang affiliation, that DACA thing goes up in smoke. The tattoo, is that a gang tattoo?
Well, that's a good question, and we've asked a lot of gang experts, and basically what I'm hearing is that the colors of the tattoo are the key. That star, that nautical star, has blue in it. That could be meaning that he was in the Sureños gang. The BCS, Baja California Sur, where he said that's where he's from in California, where he lived for his first 10 years, but it also could be Baja California Sureños. And,
all right, so they don't know definitively, but ICE is still saying they believe he's affiliated with gangs. So let's recap.
All they have to have is a suspicion, right? Okay.
No job. Were they getting government benefits? Do we know if they're getting government benefits? I'm wondering how they were living, how the father and son were living. They didn't have jobs. Neither of them had jobs. So how were they living?
Father and son were living with Daniel's brother, who apparently did have a job, was living up in a working-class suburb called Des Moines, which is just south of Seattle. The brother had moved up here in 2016. The brother was there at the time of the arrest also, and he said he's legal, meaning, you know, the brother said, I'm legal, so you can't take me. But they did take Daniel and the father.
It's possible
but as far as how much money he's making, we have no idea.
All right, it's possible that the brother was supporting the father and the other brother. It's possible, I guess. All right, so right now the two are in custody in Tacoma, and we'll stay on the story. And if you get any more about the gang affiliation, that's the key to the son. If the son doesn't have a gang affiliation, he is under the DACA thing, even though he doesn't have a job. All right, Dan, we appreciate it. Next on the Rundown.